In the wake of her husband's passing, an 82-year-old widow delves into the hidden depths of her husband's workshop, expecting to tidy away remnants of a life well lived. Instead, she uncovers a clandestine trove, a workshop harboring not just forgotten relics, but a startling truth: secrets meticulously concealed over decades. With each uncovered artifact and hidden compartment, Edith's world unravels, revealing a life of intricate deception. But what was it all for? As she grapples with the realization that the man she loved was more than he appeared, Edith's quest for answers becomes a gripping tale of self-discovery, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Yet amid the turmoil, she finds solace in the memories of their shared moments, each one now tinged with a bittersweet blend of nostalgia and betrayal. The somber afternoon hung heavy over the gathering at the modest funeral home, casting a muted pallor on the faces of those paying their respects. Edith sat stoically in a worn armchair, her eyes veiled by sorrow, clasping a tissue between her fingers as she acknowledged condolences with a faint nod. Around her, the air was thick with hushed murmurs and subdued sobs, a symphony of grief that enveloped the room. At her side stood her eldest son, David, a sturdy man with a weathered face, quietly consoling his mother while stealing glances at the attendees. His wife, a gentle soul with kind eyes and a comforting presence, hovered nearby, offering silent support to Edith. Their conversations ebbed and flowed like the tide, punctuated by moments of shared remembrance and fleeting smiles tinged with melancholy. Henry and Edith had cultivated a rich tapestry of life, their family woven with love, resilience, and shared experiences that spanned decades. Their eldest, David, was a steadfast and hardworking man, now 55 years old. He had inherited his father's dedication and determination, carving a successful career in finance. Married for 28 years to his college sweetheart, they had 2 children, twins at the age of 25. Samuel Jr., a budding lawyer, embodied his father's strong work ethic, while Lily, a free-spirited artist, mirrored her grandmother's creative flair. Their second child, Emily, at 52 years old, was the family's pillar of empathy and understanding. A devoted nurse, her compassion knew no bounds. She and her husband, a retired teacher, had been married for 30 years and were blessed with 3 children. At 27, their second child, Samuel, followed his mother's footsteps into healthcare, becoming a passionate doctor. Sarah, at 30, inherited her grandfather's fascination with engineering, while the youngest, Rachel, was a 23-year-old free-spirited soul with an affinity for environmental activism. At 50, their third child, James, was a beacon of intellect and curiosity, holding a prestigious position as a university professor. He and his partner, a scientist, shared a life enriched by their academic pursuits. Their daughter, Julia, at 22, was a passionate advocate for social justice, and their son, Benjamin, at 18, was a gifted musician. Their youngest, Rebecca, at 47, was a testament to joy and spontaneity. A free-spirited soul, she had pursued a career in event planning and had found happiness in her colorful life. Single and content, she was a beacon of positivity and laughter, carrying the essence of her parents' zest for life. Together, Henry and Edith had cultivated a family quilt threaded with love, diversity, and a profound reflection of the values instilled by the remarkable parents. Friends and distant relatives filtered in, offering sympathetic embraces and sharing anecdotes about Edith's late husband, Henry, that danced between laughter and tears. As the hours passed and the muted sunlight began to fade, a subtle restlessness stirred within Edith. With a polite nod to those around her, she excused herself from the gathering, the weight of the day heavy on her shoulders. She needed solitude, a moment away from the collective grief that clung to the air. The anticipation of parenthood enveloped Edith like a gentle embrace, the tender swell of life growing within her, a beacon of hope and excitement. But amidst the joy, a subtle shift in Henry's routine tugged at the edges of her consciousness. As Edith's pregnancy blossomed, she began noticing Henry arriving home later from work, the weight of exhaustion etched into his tired eyes. Their evenings together, once filled with animated conversation and shared laughter, had become quiet affairs, moments stolen between weary glances and the clinking of cutlery against plates. One evening, as the fading light cast a soft glow across the dinner table, Edith and Henry sat in a cocoon of silence. The aroma of the meal lingered, untouched, as they picked at their food, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. "Is everything all right, Henry?" Edith's voice was soft, laced with concern, as she peered at her husband over the rim of her cup. "Yeah, just a bit caught up with work," Henry murmured, his gaze distant as if his thoughts lingered elsewhere. The night deepened, the house quiet except for the occasional clinking of tools downstairs, the familiar sounds of Henry's workshop beckoning him. With a sigh, he rose from the table, a silent acknowledgement passing between them before disappearing into the depths below. As the hours slipped by, the faint glow of dawn began to pierce through the curtains, signaling Henry's return from the workshop. Henry ascended the stairs with a weariness that seemed to seep into his bones. The lines of exhaustion etched deeper on his face. He offered a fleeting smile to Edith before slipping into bed beside her, fatigue claiming him almost instantly. Edith watched him sleep, a mix of concern and understanding swirling within her. She knew that the tinkering in the workshop had become Henry's refuge. But from what or who? As the sun rose, casting a gentle warmth into the room, Edith drifted into a restless sleep, the unspoken worries about the changes in their routine lingering in her thoughts. Upon returning to the house after the service, Edith's steps faltered at the doorstep, her weathered fingers grazing the familiar wood of the front door. The once welcoming threshold now felt foreign, carrying the weight of a life forever altered. She glanced back at the quiet street, the evening settling into a somber hue, before turning the key and stepping into the dimly lit foyer. The house, usually a sanctuary of warmth and memories, now held an emptiness that seemed to seep through its very walls. Edith's gaze swept over the framed photographs adorning the hallway, a testament to the life she and Henry had built together, frozen moments of joy and laughter captured in time. With a heavy heart, she ascended the stairs, each step a whisper against the silence of the house. As she passed their bedroom, memories flooded her mind. The echoes of shared secrets, whispered dreams, and the comfort of love that had once filled the space. At the top of the stairs, Edith paused, her gaze drifting toward the basement door. A knot formed in her chest as she considered the locked space below, Henry's workshop. His haven had always been a sanctuary for creativity and solace, a place where he'd whiled away hours lost in his projects. Her fingers traced the outline of the key she'd found among Henry's belongings, a relic of his meticulous nature. It felt cool against her palm, a silent invitation to unlock the secrets hidden within the workshop's walls. Descending the creaky stairs, the basement greeted her with the scent of sawdust and oil, a scent she'd grown accustomed to over the years. Yet tonight, it carried an unfamiliar weight. The door to the workshop loomed ahead, its padlock a stark reminder of the unknown that lay beyond. Edith approached the door, her breaths measured, and inserted the key into the lock. With a soft click, the padlock released its hold, and the door creaked open. The workshop greeted her with its familiar array of tools and half-finished projects, yet tonight it felt different. Shadows danced in the corners, elongated by the dim light filtering through the lone bulb overhead. The air seemed charged with something, an eerie stillness hanging between the workbenches and shelves. Edith's eyes fell upon Henry's cluttered desk, scattered with papers and odd trinkets. But something was amiss. A solitary envelope lay prominently at the center, its crisp edges standing out amidst the chaos. She hesitated, her fingers trembling slightly as she reached for the envelope. Its surface was unmarked, pristine, bearing only her name written in Henry's familiar script. Her heart quickened its pace as she slid a finger under the flap, breaking the seal with a soft rip. Unfolding the paper within, her breath caught in her throat. The words scrawled across the sheet were brief, yet they held a weight that was almost too heavy to bear. Before she could fully process the contents, a noise from upstairs shattered the silence. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but in the stillness of the house, it echoed like a thunderclap. Edith's pulse raced, her hand instinctively clenching the note. She glanced around the workshop, every shadow now a potential threat. Was someone else in the house? Was it her imagination playing tricks in the wake of recent events? With cautious steps, she made her way back up the stairs, her senses on high alert. The house felt different now, a maze of corridors and rooms that seemed to hold secrets of their own. Edith's heart pounded in her chest. As she reached the top, another noise, clearer this time, echoed from the direction of the living room. A creak, like a floorboard under pressure. Her grip tightened on the note, the words within burning a question in her mind, but for now, survival instinct took precedence. She considered her options: retreat back to the safety of the basement, call out, or confront the unknown intruder. The living room lay ahead, the door partially ajar, inviting and foreboding in equal measure. She steadied her breath, her senses heightened, and pushed the door open. The room was empty, bathed in the soft glow of the street lamps outside. Yet, an unmistakable presence lingered, a sensation that made her skin prickle. Edith's eyes scanned every corner, every piece of furniture, searching for any sign of intrusion. Nothing seemed out of place, but the feeling of being watched persisted, raising the hairs on the back of her neck. As she turned to leave the room, a chilling realization struck. She hadn't heard the front door open or close. Whoever, or whatever, was inside was still in the house. With a surge of adrenaline, Edith bolted for the safety of her bedroom, her thoughts racing as she locked the door behind her. Henry stepped through the front door, his worn briefcase swinging by his side, his footsteps echoing through the hallway of their modest home. The heavy wooden door thudded shut behind him as he maneuvered past Edith, a faint nod in her direction, serving as acknowledgement. "Hi, Henry," Edith called out softly, her voice carrying a tinge of resignation. She stood in the kitchen, apron adorned, tending to dinner preparations amidst the clatter of pots and pans. Without a word, he veered toward the staircase, barely sparing a glance toward the domestic scene playing out in the heart of their home. Their 3 children, engulfed in their own activities, hardly glanced up as their father passed by. His steps were purposeful, a familiar rhythm echoing the pattern of countless evenings. Henry barely registered their greetings, his mind already drifting to the sanctuary below, the workshop, his domain of solace and creation. Edith sighed softly, accustomed to the routine. It had become a pattern over the years, a routine that had settled into the fabric of their daily lives. Henry's arrival home often marked his swift descent to the workshop, leaving the rest of the family to navigate the evening hours without him. She busied herself with the tasks at hand, the soft hum of the evening routine serving as a backdrop to Henry's retreat into the confines of the basement. As the echoes of Henry's footsteps faded down the stairs, Edith exchanged a knowing glance with her children, a silent acknowledgement of the familiar routine that defined their family life. It was a rhythm the family had grown accustomed to, the ebb and flow of Henry's absorption in his private sanctuary below, while the rest of them carried on with their evening rituals above. And as they continued on with their respective days, the familiarity of this routine brought the family an odd sense of comfort. The first light of dawn filtered through the curtains, painting gentle streaks across Edith's bedroom walls. She awoke with a start, the events of the previous night lingering in her mind like an unsettling dream. The sense of unease clung to her, a residue from the eerie events that had unfolded. Rubbing the weariness from her eyes, she glanced around the room, finding everything as it should be. The soft comfort of familiar surroundings reassured her. She couldn't take her mind off the letter. Could someone truly have been in the house last night? Or was it merely a product of exhaustion and grief? Shaking off the lingering apprehension, Edith reached for the bedside table, her fingers seeking out the envelope she had brought up from Henry's workshop the night before. With a mix of curiosity and fear, she tore open the seal and withdrew the note nestled inside. Not knowing what to expect, Edith was taken aback by what Henry had written. "Sorry." The single word stared back at her in Henry's handwriting, stark against the paper. A pang of confusion swept through her. What could he have been sorry for? It felt like an incomplete confession, leaving more questions than answers. As she mulled over the note, a realization dawned upon her, a strange sense of finality, as if this was Henry's way of concluding something left unfinished. But exactly what that was remained unclear. She folded the note carefully, the creases precise as she slipped it back into the envelope. Despite its simplicity, the word sorry weighed heavy with unspoken implications. A faint sigh escaped her lips. There were no explanations, no elaborations in those words, only an apology, hanging in the air like a fleeting whisper. Edith placed the envelope on the nightstand, resolving to confront the workshop once more, seeking closure amidst the remnants of Henry's life. The day ahead seemed daunting, yet the need to unravel the mysteries hidden within the workshop beckoned her, pulling her back to the place where Henry had crafted his secrets. Gathering her resolve, Edith rose from her bed, the weight of the note's simple message lingering in her thoughts. The workshop awaited, holding the key to answers she was determined to uncover, regardless of the apologies that now seemed insufficient amidst the tangled web of Henry's secrets that potentially lay within. A few days had passed since Edith first discovered the cryptic note left by Henry. The workshop had remained untouched, a silent sentinel of her late husband's work. Today, however, resolve simmered within her. What was Henry sorry about? Had he done something to wrong her? It was time to find out what he had been doing in that workshop all these years. The basement felt different as she descended the creaky stairs once more. The air was thick with the scent of history, a mixture of aged wood, faint traces of oil, and the subtle tang of metal. Shelves adorned with jars of screws, gears, and intricate watch parts adorned one side, while cabinets held a curated collection of antique timepieces on the other. The centerpiece of the workshop was a large, ornate wooden clock, its gears exposed as if inviting inspection. Its intricate inner workings were a mesmerizing display of Henry's skill, a masterpiece in itself that silently ticked away the passage of time. It was his pride and joy. A magnifying lamp perched near a meticulously organized workstation, a place where Henry had spent countless hours crafting and repairing timepieces, his steady hands breathing life into the intricate mechanisms. On the wall, framed certificates and accolades testified to his mastery of the craft, marking him as the town's esteemed watchmaker, a man whose precision had become synonymous with time itself. Amidst the controlled chaos of tools and projects lay an old wooden chest, weathered by time and use. Its lid beckoned, promising secrets and relics of Henry's past. Edith approached it tentatively, her fingers tracing the rough edges. With a gentle creak, she lifted the lid, revealing a treasure trove of memories, all untouched since Henry's passing. Inside lay an assortment of treasures, a worn leather-bound journal, delicate pocket watches in various stages of repair, and faded photographs capturing moments from Henry's youth. Tools, some pristine and others worn with use, nestled among these relics, each bearing the mark of a craftsman's hands. The workshop seemed frozen in time. It was a place where he had poured his heart and soul, a sanctuary where he had meticulously stitched together the tapestry of his life. As Edith lingered in the workshop, its significance settled upon her. Everything held a story, an echo of Henry's journey, a journey that had woven together the tapestry of their shared existence. Amidst the delicate ticking of the ornate clock and the soft glow of sunlight filtering through the windows, the workshop became not just a room, but a legacy of a man who had crafted time itself. As she explored Henry's workshop, Edith's curiosity was piqued by the collection of books resting on an aging wooden shelf. Each book seemed weathered by time, their spines cracked and pages softened with use. They were a collection of classic literature bearing the marks of a reader who had cherished their stories. Among the volumes, she discovered worn editions of timeless classics. Dickens' Great Expectations, its pages yellowed but well-loved, Austen's Pride and Prejudice, adorned with scribbles in the margins that hinted at Henry's musings, and Bronte's Jane Eyre, its cover worn from countless readings. These books had been more than mere possessions to Henry. They were companions, their stories intertwined with his own, offering solace and escape during quiet moments in the workshop. The way the pages were thumbed through, passages underlined, and notes in the margins spoke volumes of his deep engagement with these literary works. But alongside these books, something else caught Edith's eye, a stack of classic board games neatly arranged on a nearby shelf. Among them were well-loved editions of Monopoly, Scrabble, and chess, each bearing its own story from the past. Alongside them is the familiar box of Sorry. Its lid is slightly worn from repeated handling. A smile tugged at the corners of Edith's lips. Sorry had been a staple of their family game nights, a source of laughter and friendly competition. The memories flooded back, the joyous evenings spent gathered around the dining table, Henry's eyes twinkling with mischief as he strategically moved his pieces across the board. The worn-out boxes hinted at countless rounds played, victories celebrated, and defeats gracefully accepted. As she ran her fingers over the worn game boxes, Edith couldn't help but feel a warmth spread within her. Each item she discovered in this sanctuary revealed a fragment of Henry's multifaceted persona: the craftsman, the reader, the gamer, painting a portrait of a man whose life was rich with diverse passions and hidden depths. Edith found herself embracing the memories these items evoked. They were not just objects but remnants of a life lived fully, a life she had shared with Henry. Edith's fingers traced the worn edges of the Sorry box, memories dancing in her mind as she recalled the countless evenings spent playing the game with Henry and their children. With a nostalgic smile, she lifted the lid, expecting to see the familiar board and colored pieces nestled within. But as the lid opened, her smile faltered, replaced by a puzzled expression. The box was empty, devoid of the vibrant game board and the colorful pawns that should have been inside. Perplexed, she peered into the empty space, her brows furrowing in confusion. Had the pieces gone missing, misplaced in the shuffling of time, or was there something else meant to be discovered within this seemingly empty box? Carefully, she turned the box upside down, tapping it gently against her palm in a fruitless attempt to dislodge hidden compartments or concealed treasures. Yet, nothing but emptiness greeted her. A faint glint caught her eye, a flash of metal nestled in the bottom corner of the box. Curiosity piqued, she reached in, fingers closing around a small weathered key. The key felt significant, its weight heavier than its physical form suggested. Its edges were smoothed by time, hinting at years spent in concealment within the game box. What could it unlock within this workshop of hidden facets and buried truths? With a sense of anticipation mingled with uncertainty, Edith held the key in her palm, pondering its purpose. The workshop seemed to hold its breath as if waiting for the revelation this key might unveil. Her heart quickened, a rush of emotions surging within her. With determined resolve, she pocketed the key, knowing that this unexpected discovery held the promise of answers or, perhaps, deeper mysteries that lingered within the workshop's secret recesses. The empty sorry box now held a new significance, a key to unlock the unknown, a tangible link to Henry's secrets that beckoned her to delve further into the labyrinth of his hidden life. As Edith meticulously combed through Henry's workshop, every nook and cranny became a potential hiding place for what the key might unlock. Drawers were carefully pulled out, shelves scrutinized, and every conceivable hiding spot was inspected with an almost obsessive attention to detail. The key remained clenched in her hand, a silent enigma teasing her with its significance. With each passing moment, the anticipation grew, the workshop's atmosphere crackling with the tension of undiscovered secrets waiting to be unearthed. Her search, methodical and thorough, seemed to yield no immediate results. No hidden compartments or locked boxes revealed themselves, leaving her perplexed and eager for resolution. Just as her determination to uncover the key's purpose intensified, a sharp ring echoed through the stillness of the workshop, the doorbell. It shattered the silence like a sudden jolt, ripping her attention away from her meticulous search. Edith froze, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. The unexpected interruption grated against her nerves, interrupting the fragile web of discovery she had woven into the workshop. Who could be visiting at this hour, unannounced and intruding upon her quest for answers? Was it merely a visitor, or did it carry a deeper significance? With reluctance, she set the key down on the workbench. Edith hesitated, torn between the urgency of the doorbell and the unresolved mysteries that beckoned from within the workshop's depths. Taking a deep breath, she reluctantly left the workshop behind and made her way through the corridors of the house, each step echoing with a sense of interrupted anticipation. As she reached the front door, a sense of unease settled over her. The doorbell's chime seemed to reverberate, a haunting echo of the secrets waiting to be uncovered in the workshop. With a steadying breath, Edith opened the door, expecting the sight of a neighbor or a well-meaning acquaintance. Edith couldn't shake off the sense of interrupted curiosity as she returned to the workshop. The package at the door had been an unexpected diversion, but now her thoughts circled back to the mysteries waiting within the basement. As she descended the stairs once more, a renewed determination fueled her steps. The workshop seemed to hold its breath, awaiting her return, as if the secrets it harbored whispered in anticipation. Her eyes scanned the room, the workbenches, and the shelves, each holding traces of Henry's endeavors. The clock ticked past 9 p.m., signaling Henry's arrival home. The household had settled into the evening, and the children, now teenagers, were scattered throughout the house, lost in their own pursuits. As the front door creaked open, Henry stepped inside, the fatigue etched into the lines of his face. His brief acknowledgement to Edith was fleeting, a nod as he made a beeline for the staircase, his mind already drifting to the refuge that awaited him below. "Hi, Dad," one of the teenagers called out from the living room, the sound barely registering in Henry's preoccupied mind. The rest of the children were absorbed in their own worlds, music drifting from one corner, the glow of screens illuminating another. Without a word, Henry descended to the workshop, the soft thud of each step a familiar cadence. Time seemed to slip away as he immersed himself in the solitude of his creative haven, lost in the world of gears, tools, and meticulous projects. Hours passed. A quiet, almost reverent silence enveloped the house as Edith checked the clock. It was well past midnight when the staircase creaked again, signaling Henry's return. His tired steps echoed through the hallway, a stark contrast to the liveliness that had lingered just hours earlier. With a weary sigh, Edith emerged from the kitchen, her eyes betraying a mix of concern and understanding. She had kept dinner warm, hopeful that tonight might be different, that Henry would join them at the table for a family meal. "Is everything okay, Henry?" she inquired softly, a hint of worry in her voice as she gestured toward the table, the meal now cold and forgotten. "Yeah, just tired," Henry murmured, his focus still drawn toward the workshop. He made his way to the table, the aroma of the once warm dinner now replaced by a chilly silence. As Henry mechanically picked at the cold food, Edith couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. It was a scene that had become all too familiar, a fleeting acknowledgement upon his return from the depths of his sanctuary. A quiet dinner eaten in solitude after the rest of the family had retired for the night. Their family had grown, and the children had matured, but the rhythm of Henry's retreat into his workshop remained unchanged. It was a routine that often left the rest of the household yearning for his presence, leaving them with a desire for the cherished moments of togetherness that seemed elusive in the face of his preoccupation with the projects below. The bustling energy of their home had evolved over the years, the laughter and footsteps of their children now intertwined with the hushed whispers of looming adulthood. Henry's commitment to his work and sanctuary of the workshop had remained steadfast, but the passage of time had begun to strain the delicate balance between his passion and the demands of family life. One evening, as the dimming light painted shadows across the living room, Edith and Henry found themselves entangled in a rare argument. The echoes of Henry's late nights at work and prolonged hours in the workshop had cast a subtle attention upon their relationship, a tension that had simmered beneath the surface for some time. "You're never here, Henry." Edith's voice was tinged with frustration, her eyes betraying a longing for the companionship they once shared. "The kids miss you, and so do I." "I have responsibilities, Edith," Henry retorted, his tone laced with defensiveness. "I provide for this family." "It's not just about providing, Henry," Edith countered, her voice rising in exasperation. "They need their father. They need you to be present." The weight of unspoken grievances hung heavy in the air as they stood at an impasse, the chasm between them widening with each passing moment. "It's never enough, is it?" Henry's voice softened, a tinge of resignation coloring his words. "I'm doing my best, Edith." "I know, but your best seems to leave no room for us," Edith replied, her eyes reflecting a blend of hurt and longing. Their argument hung in the air, unresolved and heavy with words best left unspoken. The distance between them seemed impossible to traverse, a stark contrast to the closeness they had once shared. With a heavy heart, Henry retreated to the solace of his workshop, the familiar embrace of his projects, a saving grace amidst the discord that lingered above. The key remained a puzzle unsolved, but her curiosity was piqued by the recent delivery. Edith approached the package. The sender's name was unfamiliar, yet the contents bore the promise of intrigue. With a mixture of caution and excitement, she carefully tore open the wrapping, revealing a first-edition copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe nestled within. The book, with its elegant cover and pristine pages, seemed almost out of place among the workshop's tools and old bits. Edith's breath caught as she recognized the significance of the edition, a rare gem that spoke volumes of its value. Henry had always cherished stories, their ability to transport one to realms beyond imagination. This particular book, a timeless tale of adventure and enchantment, held a special place in their family's memories. It had been a favorite during bedtime readings for their children and had found a cherished spot on their bookshelf. Yet amidst these emotions, a spark of realization ignited within her. Could this book hold a clue, a connection to the mysterious key that remained unexplained on the workbench? Or was it a cherished memory, a token of someone else's appreciation for Henry's love of stories? With the first edition copy clutched in her hands, Edith pondered its significance, feeling that it was more than a mere gift. It was a piece of the puzzle, a thread connecting the past to the present, beckoning her to unearth the secrets carefully concealed within the workshop's walls. Edith sat in the workshop, the first edition of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe resting beside her, its significance resonating in her mind. The saying, "a rare gem that spoke volumes of its value," echoed in her thoughts. triggering a realization that perhaps another rare gem lay within the workshop. A gem of greater significance than even the cherished book? Her gaze drifted to the large, ornate wooden clock that stood as the centerpiece of the room. Its intricate gears and meticulously crafted design had always fascinated her, but today it seemed to hold a newfound importance. There was something about the clock, a sense of importance that transcended its mere function of marking time. It was a masterpiece, not just in craftsmanship, but in the depth of its significance to Henry. With a determined resolve, Edith approached the clock. She studied its elaborate carvings, tracing the fine details etched into the wood. The familiar tick-tock filled the air, the rhythmic sound almost conspiratorial in nature. Every surface was scrutinized, every gear examined, until her exploration led her to the side of the clock, where a faint glint caught her eye. A small, inconspicuous keyhole nestled amidst the intricacies of the design. Her heart quickened with anticipation, a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. The discovery of the keyhole felt like a revelation, a pivotal moment in her quest for answers. With trembling fingers, she retrieved the mysterious key she had found earlier, the one whose purpose was elusive until now. The key seemed to fit perfectly into the tiny keyhole, as if it had been crafted specifically for this moment. As she turned the key within the lock, a sense of exhilaration coursed through Edith's body. Click. The mechanism shifted, responding to the gentle twist of the key. Click. The clock seemed to hum with energy, a subtle vibration passing through its frame. Edith's breath caught in anticipation, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. Her fingers lingered on the key, poised to unveil the secret that had remained concealed for so long. As Edith turned the key in the small, hidden lock within the ornate wooden clock, a quiet click echoed through the workshop. The clock's gears seemed to come alive, a subtle vibration coursing through its intricate mechanisms. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the clock began to shift. At first, it was a subtle movement, an almost imperceptible tilt, as if the weight of the revelation it concealed was beginning to surface. The familiar tick-tock of the clock grew louder, synchronized with the escalating tension in the room. With a gentle groan, the clock slid slightly out of its original position. Edith's breath hitched as she watched the mechanism unfold, her eyes wide with astonishment and anticipation. The once stationary centerpiece of the workshop was now in motion, revealing a hidden purpose beyond its timekeeping function. The elaborate carvings and gears that had once seemed static and ornamental now came alive in a symphony of movement. The clock pivoted slowly, gears interlocking and cogs aligning in an intricate dance of precision engineering. As it shifted, a faint light emerged from a seam at the base of the clock, a soft glow that hinted at something concealed within. The room seemed to hold its breath, the air charged with excitement and apprehension. With a subtle yet profound grinding sound, the clock moved further, revealing a previously concealed trapdoor beneath it. The wooden floor parted seamlessly, as if welcoming the revelation that lay hidden beneath the workshop. The house had grown quieter, the once vibrant energy of the family now softened by the echoes of empty rooms. Henry arrived home late, the dim lights of the house signaling the solitude that awaited him. Sitting in the living room, Edith looked up with a faint smile as he entered. Her greeting met with a tired nod from Henry. "Long day?" Edith inquired, her voice laced with gentle concern as she watched Henry shrug off his coat. Same old," Henry replied, his gaze already drifting toward the staircase leading down to his cherished workshop. The routine had persisted over the years, a comforting familiarity amidst the quietude that enveloped their once bustling home. With the children having flown the nest, the solitude was more pronounced, the quiet hum of the evening accentuated by Henry's retreat downstairs. Edith carried on with her quiet evening rituals as Henry descended, his steps fading into the depths below. Hours slipped by, marked only by the subtle passage of time on the grandfather clock in the living room. Past midnight, the house remained still, the only movement being the soft glow escaping from the workshop below. Edith, already nestled in bed, a book resting on her chest, stirred as she heard Henry's approach. She looked up as he entered the bedroom, the familiar fatigue etched into his features. Henry wordlessly slid beneath the covers, his presence a quiet reassurance in the dimly lit room. Hours slipped by, marked only by the subtle passage of time on the grandfather clock in the living room. Their nightly routine had evolved over the years, the moments of togetherness becoming rarer amidst the silence of their empty nest. The shared dinners had gradually given way to solitary pursuits, the rhythms of their lives that had shifted with the passing years. As they lay side by side in the gentle embrace of night, the soft breathing of sleep began to claim them. It was a silent acceptance of the changes that time had brought. Edith's heart raced. The discovery of the trap door sent a surge of adrenaline through her veins, urging her forward into the unknown depths below. The trap door revealed a narrow stairwell descending into darkness, an invitation into a realm that had remained clandestine for who knew how long. As Edith stood at the precipice of the revealed stairwell beneath the clock, she scanned the dimly lit space for a source of illumination. A faint glow caught her eye. A light switch discreetly nestled on the wall beside the descending stairs. With a hesitant breath, she flicked the switch, and the underground stairwell was bathed in a warm, comforting light. The walls lining the descent were adorned with framed photographs, a visual narrative of their family's journey through time. Each step down the stairwell was a passage through their shared history, captured moments frozen in time, laughter and milestones framed within each photograph. The images lined the walls like a visual diary, a testament to the joys and trials that had shaped their lives. Edith's footsteps faltered as she paused, her gaze lingering on the framed memories that adorned the walls. Faces beamed back at her, frozen in moments of happiness and shared experiences. The photos revealed snippets of their story, vacations, birthdays, and moments of pure, unadulterated happiness that had filled their lives. The stairwell had become a gallery of their cherished memories, of the love and bonds that had held their family together. As she stood amidst the framed memories, the threshold of the chamber below beckoned, promising answers and revelations. But for now, Edith lingered on the precipice, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. The photographs remained a poignant reminder of the life they had lived, a life that had led her to this clandestine underground space. Edith stood at the threshold of the chamber below, her mind transported to a different time, a memory woven with the threads of nostalgia and affection. As she hesitated, her thoughts drifted back to a pivotal moment, a meeting that had shaped the course of her life, a moment of serendipity amidst the backdrop of the Korean War. It was a brisk autumn day, the air tinged with the crispness of changing seasons. Edith had volunteered at the local Red Cross base, tending to the wounded soldiers returning from the front lines. Her days were filled with compassionate care and support for the courageous men who bore the scars of battle. Among them was Henry, a young soldier with an unwavering spirit, his determination evident even in the face of adversity. He had a disarming smile that seemed to defy the gravity of war, a glimmer of warmth amidst the turmoil. Their first encounter was unassuming, a chance meeting in the makeshift infirmary. Henry had been brought in with a minor injury, a light-hearted banter escaping his lips despite the pain. His eyes, a piercing shade of blue, held a depth that immediately captivated Edith. There was an instant connection, an inexplicable familiarity that transcended mere introductions. As they conversed, time seemed to suspend, the chaos of the war fading into the background. Henry's charm, his wit, and the genuine kindness in his demeanor had drawn Edith in, a magnetism that was undeniable. In the midst of the uncertainty and chaos, a budding friendship blossomed, nurtured by shared conversations and stolen moments. They found solace in each other's company, seeking comfort amidst the turmoil that surrounded them. With each passing day, Edith found herself drawn to Henry's unwavering courage and the tenderness hidden beneath his resilient exterior. His passion for life and his unwavering dedication to his fellow soldiers resonated deeply with her. Their bond grew stronger with each passing moment, a silent understanding and a shared sense of camaraderie. Amidst the backdrop of war-torn landscapes and uncertain futures, love had bloomed, subtle and undeniable, a seed planted in the most unlikely of circumstances. It was in those moments, amidst the chaos of war, that Edith knew she had found something extraordinary, a love that would endure. She snapped out of her daydream to find herself standing outside the chamber below Henry's workshop, on the verge of uncovering the mysteries held within. Amidst the contemplation before stepping into the mysterious chamber below, Edith's mind drifted back to a tale steeped in distance, longing, and an unexpected union against all odds. The war's aftermath had scattered them across states, each carrying the weight of memories from tumultuous years. Edith had resettled in her quiet hometown, navigating the jarring transition from the chaos of war to the serenity of everyday life. But the events of the past lingered. It was an unexpected knock on the door that shattered her solitude, a moment that would mark the intersection of their lives once more. Edith hesitated before answering, greeted by the sight of a uniformed gentleman, a figure from a distant yet unforgettable past. It was Henry, standing resolute yet wrought with nervous anticipation, his eyes reflecting a blend of earnestness and lingering traces of the turmoil they had endured. His voice trembled with emotion as he poured out his heart. Henry gave the most honest and heartfelt confession of admiration and proclaimed an unwavering desire to make her an integral part of his future. He had traversed states and miles in search of her, driven by a relentless determination to claim her heart. His words bore the weight of a soul bared, each syllable proof of the depth of his feelings. Then, the most unbelievable thing happened. Henry dropped to one knee. With hands that trembled slightly, he presented a simple yet profound ring. Emotion overwhelmed Edith, tears welled in her eyes, a fusion of astonishment, joy, and the overwhelming realization that their love story had defied distance and time. With a voice thick with emotion, she whispered her heartfelt affirmation, an affirmative yes that echoed the depth of her affection. Their embrace was an embrace of two souls reunited against all odds, a celebration of love's resilience. The memory of that pivotal day lingered, a narrative of love that had continued to unfold despite the miles that once separated them. In the tranquil years leading up to Henry's twilight, the pace of life had softened, granting them the luxury of time together. Retired from the bustling routines of work and family, Henry found solace in the familiar sanctuary of his workshop, a space that still held sway over his heart and soul. However, something had shifted in the rhythm of their days, a subtle change that nestled into the fabric of their routine. Henry, though still engrossed in his projects, began carving out pockets of time for Edith, a dedication that hadn't been as pronounced in earlier years. Amidst the quiet hum of the workshop's machinery, Henry would steal away for afternoon strolls with Edith, their footsteps tracing the familiar paths of their neighborhood. The brisk air carried their shared laughter and whispered conversations, a testament to their enduring bond. At times, they would sit side by side, lost in the pages of a shared novel, or discussing the world that lay beyond their doorstep. Henry, usually immersed in his solitary pursuits, found moments to share with Edith, the lines on his face softening in the warmth of their companionship. Evenings often found them nestled on the porch, their silhouettes etched against the fading light. The familiar rituals of dinner and evening pursuits in the workshop making way for a balance that had been lost for decades. As Edith stepped across the threshold into the mysterious chamber, her eyes widened in astonishment at the sight that greeted her, a space transformed into a sanctum of cherished memories of their shared history. The room was bathed in a soft, inviting glow, casting warm hues upon a curated collection of artifacts that whispered tales of their family's journey through the years. Edith stood at the entrance, awestruck by the museum of memories that Henry had meticulously crafted. The walls adorned with shelves and displays held an eclectic array of items, a treasure that encapsulated the essence of their lives. Each section of the room seemed to hold a story, beckoning her to traverse the corridors of their past. One corner held an assortment of vintage toys from when their kids were younger, spread about, encapsulating the joyful chaos of their children's laughter echoing through the halls of their home. Among the toys was a weathered teddy bear, its worn fur a testament to the years it had spent comforting their youngest daughter during stormy nights. Another section was dedicated to their eldest son, a collection of sports memorabilia that harkened back to his glory days on the high school football team. A framed jersey, faded but cherished, stood as a tribute to his dedication and the pride it had brought to their family. Adjacent to it was a display of delicate paintings and intricate sketches, a showcase of their second, daughter's artistic talent that had blossomed over the years. Each stroke of the brush or pencil captured moments of beauty and emotion, a reflection of her soul poured onto canvases. A shelf nearby boasted a collection of science books and telescopes, an homage to their third child's insatiable curiosity about the cosmos, a passion that had ignited during countless stargazing nights with Henry. But the heart of the museum lay in the center of the room, a meticulously arranged timeline of their shared history. Framed photographs adorned the walls, capturing milestones and cherished moments that spanned decades. A section dedicated to their courtship held a weathered photograph, their first dance captured in black and white, a snapshot frozen in time that encapsulated the sparks of young love. Beside it stood an intricate shadow box, preserving keepsakes from their wedding day. The delicate lace from Edith's veil and a pressed flower from Henry's boutonniere, a reminder of the vows they had exchanged, promising a lifetime together. A polished oak table displayed a faded menu, a memento from the quaint cafe where they had shared their first date. The table held a dried rose, a token from that evening, a symbol of the blossoming romance that had bloomed over cups of coffee and shared dreams. Adorning the far wall was a collage of tickets and playbills, a visual narrative of evenings spent at the theater and movie premieres, a testament to their shared love for the arts. In the midst of this chronicle of their lives stood a grand, intricately carved clock, an exact replica of the one that had led her to this hidden chamber. Its pendulum swung with a rhythmic cadence, marking the passage of time and the memories woven within. Edith's heart swelled with emotion as she surveyed the room, a room that held the essence of their lives together, a sanctuary of love and legacy, crafted by Henry's unwavering devotion. As Edith stood amidst the curated memories in the chamber below, a profound realization dawned upon her. A revelation that seemed to illuminate the shadows of the past and infuse them with newfound meaning. It struck her like a symphony crescendo, the realization that every late night spent toiling away in the workshop, every quiet moment stolen amidst the tick-tock of clocks, every meticulous creation and concealed project had been an act of profound love and sacrifice. Henry's dedication, his tireless endeavors hidden away in the depths of the workshop, had been more than mere solitary pursuits. They had been a labor of love, his way of demonstrating his unwavering commitment to his family. The relics surrounding her, the meticulously preserved memories and treasured artifacts, were not just pieces of their past. They were a manifestation of Henry's selfless devotion. Each item, each memory, Each carefully crafted project had been a gift, a stitch woven into the fabric of their lives. The worn-out tools, the intricate clocks, the cherished toys, and the carefully preserved mementos all bore witness to Henry's tireless efforts to create a legacy that would transcend generations. It was the clock that had unlocked the entrance to this chamber that held a deeper significance. A metaphor for Henry's unwavering dedication to his family, his selfless sacrifice hidden beneath the intricate gears and carvings. Edith's heart swelled with an overwhelming mix of gratitude, admiration, and a touch of melancholy. The depth of Henry's love had remained concealed for so long, a silent narrative hidden within the confines of their home. Every project, every creation from his skilled hands had been an act of love, a way to ensure that his family would always have a tangible connection to their shared past, a repository of memories that would stand the test of time. The late nights in the workshop, the sacrifices he had made to provide for their family, the dedication to preserving their history, each act had been a silent expression of a love that had no words. As the realization settled within her, Edith's eyes welled with tears, an amalgamation of emotions: gratitude for Henry's selflessness, sorrow for not fully comprehending the depth of his sacrifices while he was alive. At that moment, surrounded by the relics of a life well lived, Edith found solace in the knowledge that Henry's love had always been present. It was a love that was part of every hidden project, every late night spent in the workshop, and every cherished memory that adorned the walls of their family museum. Edith's gaze wandered to the passing scenery, the somberness of the moment casting a reflective haze over her thoughts. Her mind drifted back to the vivid tapestry of moments woven with Henry, the laughter shared in their youth, the challenges weathered as a team, and the tender moments that defined the canvas of their love. Despite the complexities and occasional discord, she couldn't help but acknowledge the depth of their love, a legacy colored by moments of joy, resilience, and the enduring bond that had weathered the trials of time.